magandang araw po. My name is Laornile and Ambalos Bernardo. I am a registered clinical counselor currently in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I am working as a mental health clinician for children, for youth and their families, both in the public mental health sector as well as in private practice. Before moving to Canada 6 years ago, I was in SLU where I worked as a guidance counselor in the Laboratory Elementary School, a volunteer psychotherapist at the Sunflower Children's Center and Halfway Home for Boys, and an associate professor with the Department of Psychology. I was invited by the Center for Counseling and Wellness to talk about how, as parents and caregivers, we would be able to support our children as they transition into adulthood. So today I'll be talking about parenting our emerging adult children. So ano nga po bang emerging adults? Emerging adults, 18 actually to 29 years old. They're going through really a period of exploring who they are, a period of instability, not knowing what they might want, where they want to be. This is a period of focusing on themselves, but and feeling very in between. Alanganin sila, di ba? Where do I really want to be? Am I a teenager or an adult? And despite this, there are a lot of possibilities that are opening up for our children. There's possibilities around and really a lot of opportunities in education, in allowing them to grow their independence, in increasing their social ties, no? In finding partners and eventually in finding a family. So how do we support our emerging adult children? So to provide the framework to my topic, I will be using the word adult, no, as an acronym. So let's start. A is for attachment. I have always been very fascinated with attachment, no? And what is attachment? Attachment, from the root word attach, dikit, no? Attachment refers to the bond, the connection, the relationship we have with others, specifically the people who we turn to when we're afraid, when we are in distress, and when we are in need of comfort. Um, and they say that attachment is really a very fundamental, a very biologically based need, and it continues all throughout our life. We all have a very strong need to remain connected in every life stage. But the way that we want to be connected may look different, no? Nagsimula siguro yan nung baby sila, we were cuddling our children, then as children, we would play with them. Eventually, as teenagers, we would probably pick up something that's interesting to our child. Now we might play basketball with them, watch basketball games, or even pick up an instrument just to stay connected with our children. And that's our nature. Although sometimes, when we worry so much about our children, when we worry so much about our lives, that takes away from really connecting to our children. Sabi nga ni Stasha Tauscher, we worry about what a child will become tomorrow, yet we forget that she or he is someone today. And our children need us now. Right now is really a good time and the perfect time to connect with our children. And since they're adults, no, medyo malaki-laki na sila eh. Mahirap na kasi hindi na sila nakabuntot sa atin, di ba? So how do we connect with our emerging adult children? I think that it's very, very important for us to really spend time, make time with our children, no? And when we say time, this is really consciously making the most out of our time together. What's the use of spending time with our kids if nag-aaway lang naman kayo the entire time, or if nasa cellphone lang kayo the entire time? So when we spend time with our kids, I hope that we intentionally really focus on the moment and being present with our kids. And while we're there, then let's take this opportunity to listen to our children. We listen to what they're trying to tell us, but we also listen to those which they might not be able to tell us, no? And this is also very important for our children to be listened to. I think that one of the things that I've learned in the past few years is how to be less reactive when I'm listening to my child. Being less reactive for me, it looks like while I'm listening, I pause before I react. So which means that being less reactive, I'm calmer, 'di ba? I'm still firm, but I am no longer as controlling. I am no longer as reactive as I used to be. The less reactive I became, I noticed how my son felt more comfortable approaching me. Another important thing that we have to learn in connecting with our emerging adult children is learning how to ask and not just assuming things about our children. No, when he was a teenager, this started when my son was a teenager. I remember that's when I started asking him pag nagkukwentuhan kami para walang argument, no. When I want to share my thoughts, I would always ask him, "Anak, can I share something with you?" Or, "Anak, can I tell you how I feel? Or can I give you my opinion?" And I would always preempt it with, "I might be wrong, ha, and tell me if I am, but is it okay if I share this with you?" And I noticed that he never said no, no, he never, and even at work, whenever I ask my teenage clients, nobody has ever said no whenever I would ask them that question. And it invites them to really be part of the conversation. It allows them to have a sense of agency about the conversation, which is very empowering for our kids. Recently, I've learned how to ask my son, "How do you want me to help?" No, instead of assuming that he needs my help. Another very important way of connecting with our children is by learning how to validate their feelings. The word validate, again, root word is valid. What is true? Totoo para sa anak natin at the moment. So when we validate our feelings, it's just simply expressing that we understand and acknowledge their truth at the moment. How does this look like? When our children talk to us about something that's close to their hearts, let's focus on what they're trying to say. We listen very closely to what they're trying to say. We use our body language to express that we're there, we're listening. We nod our head. We say, mm-hmm, yeah, yeah, yeah. Diba nakikita nila yung kumukunot ang noon nila, ang noon natin. We approach them. We look at them eye to eye. We're there with them. And once we hear their feelings, and once we've heard them enough, then we express our understanding of what they just said. So simply put, if your child comes up to you, tells you, "Mommy, ang lungkot-lungkot ko, sobrang hinahihirapan ako ngayon." What we do is we just sit there, we focus, we listen, we express that we understand using our gestures, using our facial expressions, and then we use our words. "Nakikita ko nga na parang ang lungkot mo ngayon, anak. Lagi ka na lang umiiyak at nahihirapan ka." Right? When we validate our children's feelings, it does not mean that we agree with them, but we simply express and acknowledge that that is true for our children at the moment. Can you imagine how your child would feel if they approach you and they tell you, and they're very vulnerable and they tell you, "Mommy, hirap na hirap ako ngayon, ang depressed ko talaga, feeling ko depressed ako." And instead of validating, what we tell them is, "Ha, para diyan lang nagkakaganyan ka? Alam mo ba nung ako nga ito pinagdaanan ko, eh." And you just imagine how that might be for our kids, no? So, I hope that we really would be able to learn how to validate our children's feelings. And finally, another way of connecting with our emerging adults is to acknowledge our faults. No, no, when they see us acknowledging our faults, when they see us really acknowledging that we're not perfect, that we're taking accountability. I feel that that models so much for our children, and that would really want them to connect with us, no? Kaya ngayon importante really to acknowledge our faults and to really learn how to ask our children for forgiveness if we really made a mistake. No? Ito although I know we've missed this, when we listen to our children when they're little, they'll talk to us when they're big. They're no longer little, but we can still do so much. We are still able to communicate with them now that they're big. The next letter is D, so dasal. So dasal is very self-explanatory. We pray for our children, we pray with our children, and we pray for our role as parents. Our prayers for all our children may vary, no? Ako po personally, my prayer for myself as a parent has always been, "Lord, please help me make something good out of my child." So that has always been a very constant prayer for me. And I think more than praying for our children, teaching them how to pray and praying for our role as parents, it's also very important for our children to see us live our faith. 'di ba po? And when we live our faith, that's really our children seeing that we we walk the talk, 'di ba? We actually do what we tell them they should be doing. That they see us really living our faith, no? And that would allow them really to emulate um our faith because they see us practice our faith. So basically we just practice what we preach. No, and that's very important kasi malalaki na po yung mga anak natin eh, 'di ba? And I think now more than they also I feel that the children no matter what age, they learn best by example. Huh? So the next two letters are U and L. So U and L would be understanding limits. And this means not understanding not just our children's limits, but our limits as well. So when we talk about understanding limits, this is really about respecting boundaries. No, so boundaries are very, very important in any relationship. So when we talk about boundaries, these are the limits of what we can do, how much we can do, how much we can give. No? And how do we actually set and respect boundaries? First is, I think it's very important for us to really recognize that they have grown. Kita naman po natin, no? Time has passed so quickly that our children have now grown. No, they're adults already. If not, they're almost there. So it's very important for us to really learn to respect their independence. We recognize and we accept that they've grown. Their decisions may be different from our decisions, but at the same time, we recognize, and because of this, because their decisions may be different from us, conflict would be inevitable. Diba po? There will be conflict every now and then. And if we look at conflict differently, we can actually use it really as a means of reconnecting with our kids. Another important thing that we can do is really how to set and communicate our boundaries. As I've said earlier, boundaries are really helpful, no, in all of they're essential actually in all healthy relationships. And when we set and where are our boundaries? Where do our boundaries come from? Our boundaries are actually based on our values. 'Di ba? Once we know who we are, once we know how much we can give, once we know what can make us feel uncomfortable, then we would be able to set our values. And once I'm sorry, our boundaries. And once our boundaries are in place, then that actually means that you're honoring yourself. And when you express what your boundaries are to other people, you're also asking them to honor the space that you have made for yourself. No? Um, so when we set and communicate our boundaries, it's very important to tell our children how much you can help them, what's okay, what's not okay. Boundaries, they actually started as rules when our children were growing up. So now the rules become more complicated, right? And I think part of our boundaries really is learning how to say no to our children, even when it's hard. And what's even harder is, and this is also part of respecting boundaries, is respecting our children when they say no to us too. Now, next is number three. How do we respect boundaries? We resist the urge to rescue our children when things go wrong or when they go through something very tough. This is very, very difficult to do because as parents, our tendency is whenever our children are having a difficult time, we swoop down, we protect them, we actually fix things for them. But I hope you all remember that it's really not our job to make our children's lives easy or comfortable. Of course, this doesn't mean, ganun pala, bahala ka na sa buhay mo. No, of course not, di ba? But it's actually really very, very important to prepare our child for the path and not the path for our child. When we solve problems for our children, when we give children everything that they need, we actually deprive our children of the experience that they can solve their own problems. We deprive them of that. 'Di ba? And when we deprive them of that experience, how will they realize na kaya pala nila, 'di ba? So no matter how well-meaning we are, I think it's really, really, really for our children's best interest to resist the urge to rescue them. Let them go through tough times. That's when they realize na kaya nila. And finally, respecting our boundaries, I think it's also great to start rebuilding our identity. Sino nga po ba tayo if not other than our children's parents? 'Di ba? Because this is what I've noticed, no? As my son grew older and older, he needed me less and less. And that's fine, 'di ba? That's fine. Um, I think that we've been raising our children from the time they were born, we really wanted them to be independent, 'di ba? Pero ngayon independent na sila, parang bakit tayo yung hindi ready? 'Di ba? So, right now, what I'm learning is because my child is starting to be very independent, I have to start rebuilding my own identity. Who am I other than my son's mom? Because there are so many things about me naman, 'di ba? And I'm very proud to say that this year I took my very first solo trip, 'di ba? And even if I really want to see the world with my son, this was a very meaningful trip for me because that's my very first solo trip na hindi siya business related. Sure, I wanted to bring my son with me, but I really was so happy that I was able to do that. And there are certain things that I'm starting to do to rebuild my identity. It doesn't mean that I've forgotten my son. Anytime my son tells me, "Man, pasyal tayo dito," I would immediately say yes, right? But it's also very important to start rebuilding our identity. And the final letter is T. So T is trust. So when we talk about trust, it's really trusting the process of parenting, trusting our children, right? And trusting how we as parents really tried our very, very best to raise them the best way we know how. No matter how much we really want what's best for our kids, they also have their own lives, right? And they have every right to choose for themselves. And if we trust our kids, if we trust how we raise them, if we trust God's plan for them and for us, then things will be much better. And let's just end with this. According to Auntie Andrews, remember the goal is not to raise great kids. It's to raise kids who become great adults. And we're almost there.